Hello and welcome to another episode of Friends on the Other Bus. Thank you for joining us. If you are watching us on YouTube, hello. If you are just listening to us on Spotify, hello again. So we kind of like changing the way things are at the moment on Friends on the Other Bus, and we are having lots of guests joining us. And today we are joined by my friend from school, Adam. Hello.
Hi there, Melanie. Hi, everybody.
Thank you for joining us. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about manifestation and meditation. I think there's a good
As we called
reason
it, what
for it
did
to
we
be
just
together.
call it a minute ago? We combined the two and we called it
Manifestation.
manifestation. I like that word. That's a great
Or
word.
no,
So,
manifestation or manification or something. Anyway,
yeah. Either
yeah,
way, it's the two combined. Thank you so much for joining us. You are my first guest, by the way.
absolutely.
I've never
Privilege.
allowed anybody into my Spotify box before today, so welcome.
Well,
One
you've
of
known me
many.
40 years, so
40 years.
that's the ticket in, isn't it?
I must trust you enough to allow you in. But
Yeah.
thank you for joining us. So we are combining. There are lots of many different. We've discussed before the session many
hmm
different subjects we're going to be discussing because you are going to come back and join me with lots of other things. And obviously you're doing your own thing as well. But today we're discussing meditation, which will then take us to manifestation. So as a medium, as a psychic, I meditate daily, religiously, whether it's 10 minutes a day in the car, close my eyes and it's all about the breath work. If I'm connecting to spirit, I meditate. But actually, that's not just what it's for. So tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me more. Sound like I'm from Greece. Tell me more. Tell me more.
Well, certainly in Buddhist terms, the way that they would put it is that meditation is about dealing with your problems. We all have problems in life. We can't live throughout life without having problems. It's just how life is. But by using meditation, you can change your situation in life to a more positive one from a negative one. But it's not straightforward. Lots of people are trying to manifest things into their life. So, for instance, as I mentioned to you before the show, people would love a new car on the driveway. They'd love to have 6 holidays a year and have £100,000, job per year. Unfortunately, if you meditate and expect all of those things to just show up within a short period of time, then, it's not going to happen. And what tends to happen then is that people become disillusioned and think, oh, this stuff doesn't work. It does work, but you need to, one way of putting it is you need to clean house. So you need to deal with all your underlying problems and issues within your life, change them, and then you can open up the doors to manifest the more physical things in your
I
life.
find it quite frustrating because the amount of people that say to me, I can't manifest, I can't manifest. You're not doing it right. It's as simple as
Yeah,
that. We can manifest good things, but we can also manifest bad things, which is one of the biggest things that people actually are not aware of. That's the most important thing. But you have to be in the right frame of mind, which is what we were saying earlier on, wasn't it?
yeah. I'll give you an example of being in the right frame of mind. About 15, nearly 20 years ago, I was living in a beautiful little village in the south of France called Alet-les-Bains. Gorgeous place. It's got its own natural spring there. It's just down the road from some Da Vinci stuff. Lots and lots of spiritual things going on around that area. But I had nowhere to live. Me and my partner, I was out of work, and we found this lovely lady who owned this kind of disused hotel, and she invited us in and said, "Look, you can come and live here, but all you have to do is do a few jobs for me around the garden." I said, "Oh yeah, no problem." Anyway, it just turned out this garden was a mile long along the river. It was it's like huge forest. But it was just this beautiful setting, this gorgeous river, the River Aude, I think it's called. And basically, I started doing all this work for her, cutting the grass, getting rid of old branches and disposing of it all. And at the time, I was watching The Secret.
Oh,
So
yeah.
learning about manifestation. But the point is that I was in a good place at the time. I was very calm. I was in nature every day. I was happy. We were happy. And I decided to try this vision board. So I got this board, put it on the wall. I wanted this car at the time. I mean, I'm not a materialistic person anymore, but at the time I was. I was young, and that's what you wanted. You wanted money, you wanted cars, you wanted houses, etc. I decided that I wanted this little two-seater Lotus 7. It's like a little Caterham car. There's lots of different companies make them. So I put this thing on the board. I meditated on it, kept every day waking up and saying, that car is mine. And I'm thinking at the time, on the other hand, I'm thinking, I haven't got a proper job. I've got nowhere to live.
How am I going to pay for it?
Yeah, how am I going to pay for it? Where am I going to put the car? Right? But I stuck to it. I believed in the process. Guess what? 1 year later, I had a house, and that car was in my garage.
Yeah.
And not only was it that car, it was a better version. It was hand built for me in England. The people that sold it to me, the company, they said, this is the first one that we're actually building ourselves in factory. And they did it for me for £10,000. Those cars are in 25, 30 grand now.
Mad.
Everything just fell into place
because you believed in it.
Because I believed in it, but also because my chakras were aligned. I was happy. I was living in a high vibration, high frequency. And it's those conditions that you need to address first before you start manifesting things in your life.
Which is where meditation comes into it.
Exactly.
So it's like this full circle. You can't do one without the other. You can't run before you can walk. Simple. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you're not going to climb a ladder to the top of a roof if there's 10 rungs missing at the bottom. Yeah. You've got to just go one step at a time and deal with all your inner problems and your essentially your baggage.
Baggage.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. We all have it.
We do. From one day to the next, I can be happy as Larry, 5D head, everything's perfect, and then I wake up the next day and I'm ego. My ego's here, and I'm angry.
Yeah.
But meditation takes that away, because in meditation, for me personally, I do different types of meditation because obviously I teach spiritual development. And foremost and foremost is I teach people how to meet the spirit guide, which is really important. Then they get the opportunity to meet a loved one, which is incredibly beautiful, and connect with the higher self, which is a really, really important one, because it gives you inner questions that you need the answers to that we're not always aware of. But for me, meditation brings me back down to where I am. It gives me the guidance that I need to get through. It gives me messages I need to pass on or forward on to anybody else.
Yeah.
It just, for me, it's everything. It has to be part of your daily routine. It's like brushing your teeth and brushing your hair for me. It has to be done. And I do it barefoot. When I do shows, I do them bare feet, because you have to be completely
grounded,
at one with yourself. Yeah, grounded, completely. So tell me about meditations, because you do some different ones. So tell me about yours.
So I'm kind of in the process of developing my own meditations, but they're based on meditations that other people have done that are very, very successful. One of the methods is I think his name was Jose da Silva. He was an amazing guy that developed what they call the 3-2-1 method, which is basically you close your eyes. Always do a bit of breath work, I say before, just to calm your nerves and calm your center. And then you basically are looking to go into a quick meditation by going through 3 levels, 3, 2, 1, and you enter into level 3, and then you count down and you go deeper and deeper and deeper, and then you enter into level 2, and then you go deeper and deeper. And what you do over time is you practice this of getting into the meditative state, the alpha state, in a really quick sequence. But it does take time. But it's better than having lots of different meditations, which may take minutes for you to get into that into that field of energy where you want to be. So that's one idea.
Well, it's funny that you say the 3-2-1 because whenever I think of meditation, I always use this. I think of a triangle. Don't ask me why. And then
Yeah,
I realise that the reason I see a triangle is because it's weird the way I teach, and everything for me is visual. It's just my head.
yeah. You're visualizing these
Yeah,
numbers,
I visual a
and
triangle because,
I visualize 333 in a triangle.
well, it's weird because for
Well,
me, when I
just
teach
shows.
people, yeah, when I teach meditation or I show meditation, I say, imagine a triangle, start at the bottom left, take a deep breath up, 1, 2, 3 seconds, then hold it for 1, 2, 3 seconds to the bottom right, and then exhale for 1, 2, 3 seconds, and then you start at the beginning. For me, I don't know, 369's always been my lucky number. It's followed me everywhere. But for me, I saw instinctively when you said the 3-2-1, I thought, oh,
Yeah.
you've seen the triangle that I've seen because you got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 1. So it's the same. So
Well,
there's something in this.
yeah, the triangle as such is part of sacred geometry. So you look at sacred geometry patterns, you'll see cubes, you'll see
That's what I draw.
triangles.
When
Yeah,
I
yeah,
doodle, it's triangles, it's the star, it's
stars.
cubes, cubes.
I am a star
Yeah,
doodler,
yeah. Starseed. That's another episode.
and and I always try to perfect them.
Yeah.
In you know,
I
you
draw
add in.
some weird
Oh,
stuff. I drew something really weird the other day when we were talking. I'm not even gonna. Sorry to anybody watching. It's really random. I'm going to find it and send it to you. I drew this really weird image when I was talking. When you were sending me voice messages on Thursday, I was like, "The hell is that I've just drawn?" It's another conversation. So let's go into some more meditations. Tell me.
I mean, one of the meditations I've just done, I did it on TikTok, so some people have actually tried it.
What's your name on TikTok? Let everybody see what your name is.
So I'm no well. I've been changing it all the time, just trying to get something that I really sort of like gelled with.
Because you're
But it's
new
that,
to TikTok. You've been doing it elsewhere,
yeah.
but you're new to TikTok, aren't you? Yeah.
Well, it's actually my daughter that actually created the account. You need
Yeah.
a 13-year-old in your life
That's
to
how I
get you
started
through
back
all
in the
this.
day.
Because
An 8-year-old.
yeah, I looked at TikTok and I thought, what do I do with that? And then she came along. I was like doing all these little dances and putting all these little emojis and stuff
Oh,
onto her
bless
videos. And I
her.
thought, oh, they're really good, them, aren't they? Yeah. So yeah. Sorry, I lost.
Your name on TikTok.
Yeah. My name on TikTok. That meditation guy.
Yeah.
But I have changed it a few times, and obviously once you can change the username, but I think if you change your the profile name,
TikTok name.
you've got to wait a certain amount of time before you change it again. So I
Yeah.
will get everything in line, and
Yeah.
then
You've
I'm
got to
building.
find your
Yeah,
brand. Because I was
yeah.
originally Mellypops 23 for years.
Well,
And then
you
I
were
was
Melly Pops on Facebook, weren't you?
I was Mellypops on Facebook, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a pet name. And then I was Mellypops. Then I was Melly Medium, and then I changed it to Melly Medium Official with a green tick. But there's loads of fake accounts, but that's just another story. But yes, anyway, meditation.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Please tell me about, because we had a conversation, and I'm sure these guys would be really, really interested. Tell me about the one where you visited your rich self.
oh
That's
yeah,
a
yeah.
great story. I love that story.
So
Tell us about that.
yeah,
People can do these meditations with you, can't they? If they
they're
can't do them
like
themselves.
they're really good because they are kind of between 10 and 15 minutes long, and they're extremely powerful. They really, really are powerful. This one, which is called the quantum jumping meditation, I mean, you can find these online. You can find stuff out about them. It was developed by a guy called Bert Goldman. He got to quite a late time in his life before he developed this and discovered this. And what he did is he meditated and went through a transition. And in this transition within the meditation, he goes to see his different selves. And each of us have a successful self in any field that we want to access. So, for instance, if you wanted to be a butcher, a tinker tailor,
I'm vegetarian.
Oh no, well, a butcher of fruit and vegetables.
Yes.
You can go into this transition, find your butcher self. Well, maybe we'll say something else like your business
Gardening
self.
Yeah.
Something a bit nicer. So you find your business-minded self, you see them, and all of a sudden, a picture of them comes up like
Yeah.
a hologram, and you follow them doing what they would do in their normal
I
day.
love this story. I love it.
So the first time I did it, I wanted to see my rich self because I thought, I wonder what I'd look like if I was rich. You know? Not
Did
that
you
I'm
have a
bothered
nice?
about
Did you
being
wear
rich.
a nice like Armani suit or something in it? And
Oh God, I looked like Don Johnson from 1980s. It was weird. It was kind of this. I was wearing this kind of baggy-ish suit with shoulder pads in,
oh
and
no.
this like silk scarf, and I thought, you're a bit of a weirdo, aren't you? and I was in. It was in Harrogate. You remember where Carrington's nightclub used to be?
Yeah.
What's that road called there? I can't remember. The
Station
road.
Parade.
Station Parade.
Yeah.
And I followed myself, and I got into this Ferrari, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is
Bonkers.
really weird." And then what Bert tells you to do is to then you never talk to yourself, you never communicate. You're just a bystander of yourself. You then walk into that body, you climb into that body, and you become them for a very, very short period of time. This is all over and done in
Mad.
15 minutes. You
Mad.
can do this in your dinner break.
Yeah,
You
of
know,
course. Yes,
at
in
work.
your car.
Jump
Yeah.
in your car. Somebody knocking
Yeah.
on window. Do you want a coffee? No, I'm trying to be somebody else.
Put your
You know,
sunglasses on. People
Yeah.
think you're dead otherwise if you've got your eyes
or,
closed.
or asleep anyway.
Yeah.
So you go into this body, you become that person, your other self, your higher self, and then you leave it. You walk back out the transit door because you've gone through a door, and you bring yourself round, you wake yourself up. One of the good things to do when you're waking yourself up is to look at things in the room and focus on them and say, that is a cup, that is my photo on the wall. And what that is switching you out of the meditation process. And then you just go about your business. And then you do that every day and watch things unfold in your life.
Now, what's the guy called again?
Bert Goldman.
Bert Goldman, if anybody wants to do any research or anything.
Go and see
but
what he's achieved.
Tell me, I know you were going to say, you tell me all about the things he taught himself to play the piano. He taught himself to, by going into his body and
became an
doing
artist. He became a photographer in his 80s, and he developed a completely new artistic photographical process. And his work is now worth a fortune. I mean, he's passed away, unfortunately. I'd love to have met the guy.
That's amazing.
But I think he lived into his 90s. I mean, he was 80-something. He had a 50-year-old girlfriend. They were travelling around doing all sorts of amazing things. He completely transformed his life just by the power of the mind.
People do not realise, and I say this all the time, we are superhuman, multidimensional beings. Our brain is the most powerful tool we possess. Not our car, not our money, whatever.
Yeah.
Our brain is the most powerful tool because we can convince ourselves one thing and we can bring ourselves down with the other. It is the most incredibly functioning thing that we've got, which is why certain powers that be try to dull it, which is why we've got to keep the pineal gland going all the time. Got to keep it going.
Well, Bob Marley was telling us about what was going on in the world in the Redemption song.
Yeah.
He said in his song, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds.
It's true.
It was all there in his music. It's all there in his music.
In plain sight. We just didn't see it.
A
I
prophet.
tell you what. I completely agree with you there. My spirit guides told me, actually, because I've always been able to have visions, as you know, you've known me a long time or whatever. And my guides told me about 2 or 3 weeks ago about me being a prophet. I don't like the word prophet because that sounds wrong, but I call them spiritual downloads. Well, actually, they are prophets. They're visions of the future, which is what I get, that things that come true. But one meditation I really enjoy doing is, and I do this on the development circle, and I don't profess to be a meditation expert, and you know everything about all stuff like this, and I don't ever pretend to know, but the ones that I do enjoy doing is where I connect with the higher self. I love that one because their higher self tells them the information that they already know but they're not aware of, but the higher self fills in the dots, if that makes sense. But my favourite one is where they go see themselves in a past life. I take them through the rigmarole, down the steps into a basement with lots of doors, and I say, choose the door that you're drawn to, and they go into an area, and I actually send them with one of my guides. Um, and I say, he's going to come with you and guide you, and he'll stand with you, hold your hand or whatever you need to do. And I take them in, and one of the girls in my development circle, she won't mind me telling you the story, I think she was a Danish wealthy businessman, and people adored her, or him, because it was a him in the story. And she gave us all this information. And then I say to them at the end of it, go source that information now. And then they all come back and go, oh my God, oh my God. And the mind's blown, and they realise, actually, wow, we're here again. We've come back again, and we keep coming back. Oh, excuse me. And we're recycling our soul continuously.
Yeah.
And the meditation is another good way of producing that evidence for you, really.
Well,
Most definitely.
the mind is essentially, it is the universe. The universe is not out there. That's all a hologram. What's in here is the biggest place that you could ever imagine. It's an infinite place, is the mind. And, when we talk about meditation, you're using your medium capabilities to take people down different kind of alleyways, paths, and so forth. Whereas I do more of a kind of I suppose you could call it more of a mainstream thing, which is just dealing with general issues in your life. Yours is a much, much deeper. I mean, I wouldn't even dare to do some of the things that you do, because it's for me, it's out of my sphere.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, I mean, they do meet your spirit guide, because you can't do mediumship without knowing who your guide is, or at least connecting to the energy. You don't necessarily have to see them. Meeting a loved one's a bit of a treat, because they love that one. They always cry. Connecting to your higher self is vital to give yourself information you're already aware of. But your past life one, I do, because we carry blockages and restrictions from previous lives, and I like to get to those. I feel like I like to dig deep and evaluate ourselves a little bit, and then they move forward, and they can almost release any restrictions that they've got going on, which then opens them up further to the spirit. That's why I do the ones that I do. But yours are yours are to make you a better person. Yours are to give you better energy. Yours are very uplifting. Yours are dealing with things that we need to get rid of. So yours are much more powerful, I would say, most definitely. Mine are very restricted to the mediumship and spiritual work, but yours are like out there, most definitely.
There is one other meditation. This one was developed by he is one of my heroes. His name is Joe Dispenza. A lot of people.
Oh, I've heard of him. I'm just going to video for the. Yeah. You okay?
Yeah.
I've heard of him.
And what Joe Dispenza believes, and he's put all of this into practice, is that sometimes we have to become nothing. We have to become nobody in order to recreate our new selves.
Yeah.
And what happened to Joe Dispenza some years ago? Joe Dispenza was a triathlete, and he was on his bike doing one of the courses in the triathlon, and he fell off the bike and he broke his back. I think it was 6 places. He was told in hospital he'll never walk again. And they gave him a 6-week period to kind of get all of his affairs in order, because what they were going to do is they were going to fuse his spine, and he would have been a cripple for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Joe Dispenza decided that he was going to walk out of that hospital. Now, most of you might think, no, not a chance, not a chance. But he says that what he did is every single waking moment of his life, he thought about one thing, and that was being well, walking out of that hospital and getting back to his life as it was. And guess what? He did it.
He did.
He achieved that.
I believe, yeah.
And it's because he had to erase the person that he was, this crippled man who couldn't do anything, couldn't get his life back on track. He had to erase that from his mind and create a new self. And that's this meditation that I'm going to be doing a video on it at some point, but it's a meditation, I believe, for people who have been meditating for a while, because it's 1.5 hours long.
Wow.
And the things that happen within that meditation, you go so deep, you become nothing, you become part of the universe and the ether. Your body becomes non-existent.
Wow.
And what you do is you recreate yourself. And it takes a number of these meditations before this kind of happens. And I've done probably about 4 or 5 of them so far.
Yeah.
And things have changed in my life in the last year quite dramatically. So I know that it works,
Yeah.
but as I say, it's a very, very deep meditation, and it's something that you should be doing when you've got the experience and you've learned to get into the alpha state of mind.
Some people are scared of meditation. Some people are genuinely scared of meditation, and I completely get that. I think sometimes we have to go through horrific moments in our life to realise how powerful our brain is. I mean, I've done it myself. I had a near-death experience when Isaac was a baby, and it was horrific. And I remember the nurses saying to me, "You're not getting out of bed." I said, "If I don't get out of bed now, I will not leave this hospital." And I got out of bed, collapsed on the floor, passed out. They all packed themselves. That's another story. And then I called them an hour later and went, "I'm getting out of the bed." And they went, "You're not." I went, "I am. Watch me." And I got out of bed. Same as when I was in hospital with meningitis.
Wow.
I was this, and the midwife says to me, she went, "I have never, in all my time as a midwife, met somebody with such a strong, powerful head like this." And I said, "I'm doing it." Same with meningitis. They said, "We're keeping you." And I went, "You're not." They said, "You have to be able to walk." 'Cause I couldn't walk. I'd lost all function of my legs and my arms. I couldn't even pull myself up in bed. "You have to walk from one side of the corridor to the other." I went, "Get me the Zimmer frame." And I did it. I thought I was very poorly, but there was no way on God's earth I was going to let my brain take me down. But meditation does that to you. Meditation takes you to, because you can believe your abilities. You believe yourself because you're connecting with your true self, your true core, aren't you, at the end of the day?
Yeah. And what happened to you there on a number of occasions, as you said, you were kind of near to death. The universe sends these things to us to make us who we are going to become.
Completely.
People will say things like, "Oh, I have really bad luck, and this happens to me, and that happens to me." It's because how you respond to what happens to you as to whether the universe is going to send you that
And that's
experience
my,
you again or
that's my
not.
last TikTok. That's what I've just said to my last TikTok. Your reaction
Sorry,
is
I
the
never
key.
saw.
You mean you don't watch my TikTok?
I do. Well,
I'm
I'm
joking.
doing the
The
hoovering.
last
I'm
TikTok
joking.
one of the last TikToks I've just done, and my guide said this to me: reaction is the key. How you react is to whether or not the spirits or your angels or whatever, whether or not they send you another test. So this is why,
Exactly.
going back to meditation tells you flipping everything you need to know. It tells you how to react. It tells you what to do, which direction you're going in. If you are lost and you feel like you've lost everything, shut your eyes, 10 minutes, breath work, in, out, focus on it. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, blow your socks off. You'll be a different person. If you do it once a day for a week, different person.
Do you know what was my worst reoccurring kind of failure that I was going through every day? That I wanted. It was one of my biggest issues that I wanted to deal with. Every time I got up in the morning, I got in my van to go to work, I turned out of the driveway, you can guarantee, without a shadow of a doubt, I was going to get stuck behind somebody who was doing 20 miles an hour in a 40, stopping at the lights, looking at the phone, messing around. It's like the lights have changed. And I used to get, as we call it, I'll admit it, I'm a human being. I used
Angry.
to get that angry road rage feeling. And
Move, just
every
move.
single day it happened. And it's been happening for years, this.
Yeah, but
Years
then
and
what
years.
happens? You get to a traffic light when they've disappeared, and every traffic light turns red to slow you down
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
being a
So
knob.
I had to address this problem because this was one of the things that was holding me back in life.
Ego.
Yeah, ego. Ego's one of the biggest, most destructive things. We have it. We just have to learn how to manage it.
And
I
how
had
to
this
react.
big black 4x4 that I used to drive around in, thinking that I've got this big car, and I thought that's actually making me feel like I might be better than other people
And
when
we're not.
actually we're all the same. We're
We
all
all
equal.
bleed the same colour.
Yeah. And
We
we're
all
all
bleed the same
part.
colour.
Yeah, we're all part of this one consciousness. Do you know what I mean? It's like you take a bucket of water and you take 6 glasses out of that bucket of water. All of that water, it can be in different multicolored cups. One could be in a red one, one could
All
be
the
in a
same.
green one. You could add a bit of dye to that one. We are all the same.
Yeah.
And when we come together as one
Yeah.
consciousness, the world is ours. We
Yeah.
can make everything right. We can end all the wars. We can end all the poverty, because it's just a few people who are
Yeah.
making us live in this external world.
As
That's,
prisoners.
I mean, I know I'm going off the
No, you're
subject
not.
here.
You're not. You're not. It's
Sorry.
absolutely right. But the thing is, I completely agree with you there. And I'm never been materialistic. I'm not a materialistic person. And I'm very grateful for, I say to anybody, they'll say, what can I get you? I'll go, just your time. I only want your time. It's the most important thing you can give me, because memories are completely priceless. Nothing I possess in this house that hasn't got a heartbeat means anything to me. Nothing other than somebody's time. But it all stems back to meditation. So in order to live your truest purpose or your truest life, or know your path, or learn new things, or be at one, or find inner strength, all comes down to meditation. It is the key. It is the pip in the orange. Everything
Yeah.
branches off from meditation, learning how to create your life, your destiny, where you're supposed to go, your moods, everything is down to meditation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people don't realise that is the seed, the start of everything.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that a lot of people need to do is to, if they're going to start meditating, is to activate the pineal gland, which
Yeah.
is this tiny little acorn-sized
Yeah.
thing inside the brain.
Seed.
Seed, yeah. A lot of us have got calcified pineal glands,
Yes.
which is from fluoride. There's science to all of this, you know.
Oh, there is. I know there is. Yeah.
There's a complete science to it. So one of the things that one of the many things that you can do is to start drinking filtered water, clean all the toxins out,
Yeah.
get rid of fluoride toothpaste. You can get
Yeah.
natural toothpastes. You can also do pineal gland meditations, so that when you meditate, you look into the center. So you look as if you're looking up. If you get somebody who's asleep and you lifted their eyelids, you'd see both of their eyes pointed
Yeah.
up into the head, because it's focusing on the pineal
Yeah.
gland. And what you do is you focus on that area, and you create a bright light, and this will help awaken and decalcify your pineal gland, as well as doing away with the fluorides, and eat as naturally
Eat.
as possible.
Well, do you know, going off quickly, and I'll tell you what I was going to tell you, is you eat foods that are the same colour as your chakras, and it will clean and cleanse those particular
Yeah.
chakras. So the pineal gland is violet. So anything that's purpley colour, so things like your blueberries, blackberries, aubergines, anything, grapes, anything that is that colour. There is other ways that you can do it naturally, and that's one of them. Tapping the pineal gland, binaural beats, theta waves, gamma waves, certain trance music, hertz sounds will stimulate the pineal gland to open. But things, even just rubbing it and stuff like that, this is all a help in order to stimulate the movement with regards to pineal gland. The
I
minute you
use
see
all of
colours, yeah, I do. The minute you see your colours and the swirls of what I call a screensaver, and then sometimes you get to see your eye looking back at it, but meditation again will open that for you. There is some really good, if you Google and look at meditations to open up the pineal gland, it's all the music's not like music, it's very wow. It's got like a particular beat sound to it, which over time, repetitively, allows that to open. 1 second, I'm going to let you talk for a minute. Hello? All right, see you later, love, bye. Sorry, my son's
I didn't
going
get a
to the
chance to get a
barbers.
word in there. No, that's fine.
Yeah, so things like that are perfect for the pineal gland.
Yeah, the
open
binaural beats. One of the things you should be careful is using. I know people will go straight to YouTube, but YouTube is not a good place, because they're using 440 hertz through the
Yes.
music. You need to be at 432 hertz when you're
Oh, that's
listening to
good,
these
okay.
kinds of music.
Yeah.
That was changed in the 20s. It was the very, very
was?
powerful, nasty people.
Yes, I
Yeah,
know.
they changed
yes.
it to
There
put
is
us
somebody-
into a lower vibrational state.
It's true. There's somebody on TikTok that called, I don't know if I'm going to get his name right. I don't know if it's somebody Lincoln, Jesse Lincoln or something. I can't remember. He has dance music that has the correct binaural beats that we're supposed to listen to every day, which is why some of the music that we listen to commercial is very wah, wah, wah. It's very dark, and it's designed for darkness. It's designed to block any chakras and things like that. But again, going back, and I know we're going off track or whatever, but we're not. we're explaining to you the importance of meditation, and this is what it does.
Yeah, well,
But
as I said, there's lots of...
commercialised, you have to be careful because a lot of these things are just made up by any Bob, Joe,
Yeah.
and Darren that want to sell subscribe followers where actually they've got no idea what they're talking about. So,
Yeah, I think we are kind of, as you say, going off-piste, but they are detrimental to the function of your meditations. It's about changing lots and lots of things. As I said to you earlier on, you can't just meditate and manifest things into your life. You've got to do a lot of other work in order to get to where you want to be.
But it all starts with meditation.
Yeah, it all starts with
Back to that little seed.
Yeah. You can start to do simple meditations, and you will within days you will start to feel a little bit better. And one of the things that I notice is if ever I'm out walking, I'm on my bike, or I'm just in the car, I have this real depth feeling of inner peace that comes, and it's this wonderful feeling. I don't fear anything anymore. I don't get upset by things. I do get emotional. I don't get upset. I mean, this morning I drove past where my great aunt and uncle live, who really, really loved me when I was a child because they didn't have any children, and I started welling up, because I just remembered them. But it's a good thing sometimes as well to cry and get your emotions out.
You've got to offload.
Don't bottle
you have to
things
offload.
up.
No, you have to offload. But again, that's something you can do in meditation, because when you breathe in, what I do is if I'm having a bad day, I always breathe in through the nose and I exhale through the mouth, and I let everything out. And what I'm doing is I'm breathing in. For me, I look at it as if I'm recycling the clean air and getting rid of things that are laying dormant within the body. And when I breathe out, sometimes I make noises and I'm like, get it out. And I'm getting rid of all that tension and anxiety. And I start to feel the body soften, jaw soften, everything just then starts to feel relaxed. And I can then suddenly go, oh, that was a bit of a ride, but I feel so much better for it. And again, you're offloading, you're breathing in all the goodness and getting rid of anything that's laying dormant, any anger, any fear, any worries, everything has to come out of the body, because that's what makes us poorly.
So the meditation that I've got on my TikTok basically focuses on what you just said. So what we're doing is we're breathing in, we're seeing the word love, happiness, joy. We're breathing in these words and we're focusing on those words coming in and becoming part of us. What that does then is stops your mind from drifting off as you're meditating. You can be meditating and all of a sudden you'll just see your dinner go by. Oh, I'm having that tonight.
So it's like an anchor, isn't it? It's like an anchor to keep you stable. Yeah.
And then what we do on the exhale breath, we see ourselves as breathing out this black smoke. And this is all the badness in our lives, the negativity, the pain, the anguish, the trauma, the regret. We get rid of all of those things as we breathe out. And it's a daily practice that we need to do to transform our mind and our body into this kind of, into this new being that we want to become.
It's all in the breath work. It's all in the breath work. Before I let you go, I'll tell you a quick story. In lockdown, the first one, my son was still at school and he got really frustrated with homeschooling and everything, and I was still teaching online at this point. And we used to go out in the car when nobody else was around, and we used to put music on full blast. There'd be nobody else on the road, and I used to say, take deep breaths in, exhale, take deep breaths in for your nose. And we used to do that all the way down the bypass. Then we'd get to the roundabout before you go to Bradford. I'd open the window and I'd go, right, let it go. And he'd open the window and he'd go, and let it all out. Take a deep breath in, get rid of it. And we used to do that, and then he'd go, I feel so much better for that. That's meditation. Just because you're not sat with your eyes closed, you're focusing on the goodness. You're focusing on the goodness and getting rid of any angry words, any anguish, anything that's laying dormant, because it just makes you poorly.
That's it.
But thank you so much for today. I've really enjoyed it. We've got more planned, haven't we, love?
We have. There's so much more to learn. There's lots of other things that I'm going to teach people, which you can add into their daily routines, daily meditations, things you can do while you're walking down the street, but we'll save that for another time.
Yes, fantastic. So please remind us of your current TikTok name till that changes.
So it's that meditation guy.
Okay.
And hopefully I'll get a few more followers and I can help more people then. Because that's the aim. It's just to help
Yeah,
people.
that's all our purpose is anyway. But I know because we've known each other a long time, so we know that. But we want you to go live, so we need to get you to 800, don't we? Because you are new to TikTok, like you say. It's not been your
Yeah.
thing. You've been on Facebook for quite many years, but obviously TikTok's your way forward now. So we need to be able to go live. And we've got other things planned, haven't we, on Zoom and things? We've talked about doing other stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure that a lot of other things are going to develop from those
Yeah.
things. But we will see. Yeah, there's lots in
Yeah.
the pipeline.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
No, it's been a pleasure. Been a
Yes.
pleasure.
And we will catch up again soon. We will reconvene for part 2 of something. I don't know what it'll be, the next one, but we'll definitely maybe manifestation a bit more next time anyway.
Yeah, cool.
Perfect. Thank
Great
you very
stuff.
much, Adam.
Peace.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.